This is Polish Peter, and you are listening to episode 85 of Immigrant Masters Unite. What if I told you that in order to be successful in life and business, you only need to focus on about 2-3 different things, ways of being, ways of doing stuff? And what if I told you that sports can actually help you develop those 3 things? One of those sports being Jiu-Jitsu. Would you want to figure that out, what that's like? What if I told you that on today's particular episode, I have a gentleman who has 26 black belts underneath him in Jiu-Jitsu that has figured this out and is willing to share this stuff with us today on the episode. Hi, this is Polish Peter, and welcome to this amazing episode of Immigrant Masters Unite, where immigrants unite and transform lives. This podcast is all about helping you transform your life, your business, and the world around you. And on this particular episode, I have Michel Pereira. He's originally from Brazil. He's a native from Brazil. He's living right now in Florida, in Miami, and he's a black belt, 5th degree in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a father of 3. The 3rd one is on the way right now. He's happily married and is living a healthy lifestyle. But what he shared in this particular episode is a story of coming to the United States, but more importantly, the disciplines that Jiu-Jitsu, that Judo, karate, and all these different disciplines have helped him to be successful in life. He has his own dojo, and this guy is an amazing human being. I'm so glad that I was get to connect with him through one of my mutual friends of ours. It's actually one of his students that's connected me with him, and we had a great conversation on this particular episode. We talked about, I'll give you one particular thing that we talked about, and is discipline. How do you actually develop the discipline? And how has Jiu-Jitsu helped him develop the discipline? How he passes it on to his students, and how you can actually do it in life, right? And we shared one really important aspect to just focusing on that one particular thing is going to help you become more disciplined in life. One thing that I want to share with you is, as you listen to this episode, towards the end, when I asked him my Polish Peter's final round, there was a really cool answer that he left on this particular episode that I think it's going to be helpful to you as a listener. So without further ado, this is Polish Peter with Michel Pereira, also known as Buju, as some of his friends refer to him, right? Let's get into it. Hey, Michel, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me, Peter. I'm excited for this one.
Me too, man, because one of the things is one of my really good friends, Kevin, he's introduced us together. And from the first 15-minute conversation that I've had with you, man, there is so much great energy that comes out of you, and what you've been able to accomplish in life is, I think, short of just I don't even know how you ended up doing that. I mean, because how many black belts do you have under you?
So far right now, 26. 26.
Just 26.
Yes.
Just 26. All right.
Just
so
remind the people and the public that it takes about like 7 up to 15 years to become a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. It's kind of like a college, you know?
Right. Yeah. So just 26. That's it. Right. Yeah. Not that big of a deal. Right. So listen, that's a huge amazement. And you have from what I can tell, successful school, and you are a Jiu-Jitsu master. I don't know how you refer, but listen, tell the listeners a little bit before we get into that conversation about your story of coming here to States, because you're originally from Brazil, correct?
Yes, I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I started Jiu-Jitsu in 1992. A couple of months later, I was already seeing myself teaching classes. And then I strived many years of like training and focus and grinding and know what I wanted for best for me, you know. And then moving a little bit fast forward, in 2005, I moved to United States. I have a great idea to open up a school, but I didn't know how difficult it was. You have a mind, you know, okay, I'm going to put that my plan, you know. And I end up seeing myself as a chef. Then I only was be able to open my school, my school in 2008. That's the school that I run here in Miami, you know, on Kendall location until these days that we are watching and listen this podcast, pretty much. So it took me a little bit of while. I learned the ups and downs as an immigrant here. Most likely, I think the most difficult part was the English, the communication barrier. I had to learn a lot, uh, place words for kids, for teens, adults,
Hmm.
females. You have to know how you're going to present the product, explain the product, and be able to talk about the product. I think that's the most difficult part, was it? But thankfully, it went pretty well. I'll say that.
That's awesome. Very cool. So when you came here, did you speak English? No.
Yeah, I started to focus in English probably around in the 80s. I was having
Okay.
like a little small TV, was a gift for one of the ladies that used to live on my building, black and white TV. And the first conversation that I learned in English was a
Uh-huh.
football, a game between San Francisco 49ers. Joey Montana was on the game. And it was
Wow.
so like, I think I was more mesmerized how they speak than the game. The game I became a fan like when I was here
Yeah.
years later. But just for the fact that I was diving into that world of language and trying to understand and write it down or what they're saying. I think that's what that grabs more my attention. So that was my first encounter. And then when I moved here, I have let's say 25% of my English at that time.
Okay. I gotcha. All right. Cool. So one of the things that amazes me about you is jujitsu, and I mean, that's a really amazing sport, or however you want to call it, but it has helped you. And I think it helps a lot of people actually in life. It's not just jujitsu as you be able to, fight or do the actual sport, but how it actually is incorporated into life and how it actually helped you be successful in life and your mindset and communication, because I think jujitsu is a communication itself, right?
Mhm.
Uh, when did you start the jujitsu? How did that came about for you, jujitsu?
Well, I was very active kid in my neighborhood,
Hmm.
in all the neighborhoods that I've been through. So I tried to play soccer. I always try to be active, right, Peter? So my first encounter with judo as age as 5, my mom saw me very hyperactive, and she said, "Oh, we need to get this kid to spend some energy." So we tried
Yeah.
soccer, we tried volleyball, we
Not
tried
enough.
handball, nothing worked. So she said, there's a little bit of tiny school, a judo tiny school from a Japanese gentleman. I mean, I was 5. I barely remember the name. So she put me in
Wow.
there, and then the whole world changed for me. I was starting to be more calm. I was starting to take naps in the afternoon. That's something that I recorded. My mom used to say that after school, he came super hyper. We need to do something. He doesn't take a
Hmm.
nap, whatever. So after the judo class, I started to take naps in the afternoon and calm me down during the evenings, right? And towards to the night. Due that the fact that my dad was moving a lot, he was a doorman, for buildings, it was sometimes difficult to find something for I do it. Finally, when I moved to my last neighborhood, Leblon, I was be able to find karate under the flag of a Shotokan. So that gives me that tremendous amount of a discipline,
Hmm.
how to interact with people, how communicate with people. I think that was my kindergarten, and then I started to graduate, and then my sensei, that's rest in peace, Paulo Góes, he allowed me to work with the beginners, teaching the karate fundamentals, the aspect of discipline, the concentration, the mind focus of you have to be in a base for a minute and a half. You have to be in a squat stance for 2-3 minutes, and you can just take the inner pain out of you and transform something productive. That you can stay more longer if you have the right focus on it.
Hmm.
So as 2-3 years in karate, I make a lot of friends. I taught a lot of beginners, and then one time I was at the beach. This is June 9, 92. Sitting down, watching the ocean, waiting for tomorrow. He's gonna have some waves, and then my two friends, which become my professors, they tap on my shoulder and say, "Hey, we're gonna open up jiu-jitsu school down the street. Why don't you check it out?" I was living literally like Peter, like I don't know, maybe not even like a mile away from the gym. So I could have walked back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did my first class, my gi was huge. Like, mind you, that time they only have probably like 3 brands of a gi. I remember the names was Torah, Tigre, and Mizuno. Mizuno was the top of the branch. After that first class, I said, I got to do this, and I got to help this school. So Nova Geração, which is the name of my school, was formed by 60 students. I was one of them, first day over there. And then as the day goes by, we encounter more people, we group more people, we get more people, and the school is starting to get famous. And then on the long side, I was helping people to get better, to get a better diet, to get a better healthy lifestyle. We're starting to go Friday nights all the time. I'm not saying that you're not going to be out of it, but you can go out having fun, but don't need to get wasted and wake up a Saturday morning and still get a good 2-3 hours of training and still going to the beach. Right. That was, I think, my role with the Nova Geração. And then shows me, like, for everything in life, you got to have discipline. Everything in life, you got to have like a mindset that tomorrow I got to make a better day than yesterday. But if I drink too much today, if I ate not too good today, tomorrow I won't be able to wake up. I won't be able to see the sunrise. I won't be able to do my jogging, my push-ups and sit-ups. I think that's my first encounter with jiu-jitsu, was give me that base of understanding that you have to take care of your body. And karate with jiu-jitsu helped me out to get the discipline. That jiu-jitsu was very amateur. Yes, that back in the days, we're talking about 1992, 1993, to get in shape was like, okay, you go into the beach, you run 2, 3, 4, 5 miles, 10 miles, and then you do push-ups and pull-ups. That's the information that we have. Right. Nowadays, the information is so vast that, not even joking, you can get a workout in 3 minutes on your phone.
Right. I get it, man. So listen, one thing that I want to ask you, because you said something important at the beginning, and I'm curious. When you said your mom was trying to find you had so much energy and all that kind of stuff, right? And you tried soccer and all that stuff, and then you went into that, and you started training that. What do you think it was? Now that you know what you know, what do you think was the reason why that worked?
Because the fact that since I was so all over the place, and I guess she has the mom sense, the sense of the mother, to give your son a little direction, even at a young age, a direction of listen to somebody else that has more experience, somebody else that vivid a little bit more, somebody else that probably like paved that path before of you. So I think that was the mom sense of giving to a 5-year-old child that didn't have no athleticism. I was a little chunky, believe it or not. And then give it to me, that tool that maybe can get something for you in the future. And Judo gave it that to me. Yeah, I did a little bit of boxing on my teenager years. I didn't like that much. I was too skinny. I was too bony. My punches were not good. I did a little bit of a taekwondo, but my spin round kick was not that good either. I didn't have like good coordination. I don't know, because I was a little taller, maybe it was the case that time. But with that little points of martial, I think my mom starting with me with judo gave me like, okay, I need to do some sort of a martial arts. I don't know which one,
right?
But she
started experimenting.
Yeah, she gave me that. Okay, a little firecracker right there. Boom, there we go. Now,
why do you think that judo worked to like quote unquote calm you down? Why do you think it was the judo, not the other stuff?
Well, the warm ups, the amount of a repetition of the takedowns. Remind you that judo have amazing, beautiful takedowns. I still follow nowadays, like pages and videos, and my students actually send me videos of judo, and I love judo as well. So I think that mindset of like repeat, the same technique makes me tired.
I gotcha.
Like I said, as an age as 5, as age as 6, it makes you tired. And then with the gi and sweating, remind you that time air conditioning was not like something that you see all the time in gyms. So it was like a little fan on the corner of the room, and that's it. So I guess that time I didn't have the proper education of hydrate myself. Yeah, you get water when you feel thirsty, but you should not get water. I mean, when you're exhausted, that's what was with me.
I
So
gotcha.
when I was dead tired, like I barely crawling, get out of the mats, that's when I get the water. Most likely when I get home, because, you know, my mom maybe forgot a bottle of water or whatever, and I'm not going to remember. At 5 years old, I'm going to remember to play with my kids, with my friends, you know.
Right.
But I think the judo helped me out with that part, you know, give it that sense of like repetition, you know.
Right. And I think what I'm hearing from when you're sharing this, the repetition, and I feel like the judo outside of the other side, more structure that helped you to like go and put that energy into a right place, right? Because you still got to have energy and all that kind of stuff. But the structure of judo and the repetition has helped you to, you know, channel it the right way, I think. So let me fast forward over to jiu-jitsu now, because this is your thing. That's your thing, right?
That's one of my passions, you know, like something that I like it a lot.
Right. So first, let me ask you, why is it your passion? Why is jiu-jitsu passion for you?
Well, first of all, like when I started teaching, I was just a blue belt, right? I was able to be promoted with 6 months training, you know. But like I said, with the years, with the discipline, it gave me that solid foundation to be disciplined in jiu-jitsu and going every day, pay attention on classes, pay attention what the instructor, professor, and masters was delivering to us, and try to make perfection, you know, almost close to the perfection, which is impossible to achieve. But you work hard, you know, you're starting to, okay, so I do a sit-up, my belly needs to go away. I cannot do a 300, 400 sit-ups, and I can do certain moves to come up, because I need to take that belly away. So that discipline comes on that place, so we can be able to explain to the person that this is something that you're going to take as a lifetime, you know, not because you achieve one stripe, which is a promotion that we give to the students when they starting to accomplish certain positions, or you promote them with the belt, exchanging the belt. That's when the level of the students go higher. You're going to stop. You got to keep continuously that, because the belt is just like probably like 2 inches. It's just going to tie on your waist, but you got to learn how to defend yourself. You got to learn how to practice the discipline on yourself. So I think that becomes that passion. You see bodies change. You see communication change. I tell this all the time when I do my seminars. The dojo, that's what we call the place that we train jiu-jitsu, is the only place, as far as I'm concerned, as a humankind, that we don't talk about what political views you have, or are you a racist, or where you come from. I mean, maybe come from, but where you come from, do you change this here? Do you change? We don't talk about those things. You know, we're trying to elevate the positivity of the place. We try to elevate the human, associate with the others, you know, no matter race, no matter color, no matter political views. So that's becomes that our temple, you know, that we try to at least get away from what's going on outside and bring it something positive for everybody else. You know, I have students that are, Peter, they arrive 1 hour before class, sometimes 2 hours before class. Sometimes even when I open the dojo, they're there to help me, just to stay on my side, just to be there with me, just to be helping the others, you know. And I think that's a beautiful thing, to be quite honest. You know, you leave in your work an hour before to be with me an hour. And I'm not, Peter, what I'm doing is basically showing my passion, showing what I learned. I'm just a tool, right? Let's say, actually, let me say this. Let me put in a better explanation. I'm a toolbox, right? I have many, many skills and abilities that life gave it to me, and the martial arts gave it to me. And I'm giving to those people whatever I know, whatever I say. So that value that they put in on me has a lot of care, and that care becomes a passion. That passion becomes a long-time friendship, you know. I have friends that I still have contact with them since early days in 1992 when I was in Brazil in a little tiny gym. So that becomes a really solid understanding that no matter where you go, you got to give your passion to what you do. If you lost your passion, you're going to lose direction.
I totally agree, man. I love how you shared about the dojo and the place that you create that space for people to come and feel safe, I think, in there, you know, and they feel like they're accepted, and they feel like, this is like an even ground for us to come from, right? To be able to do this.
Yes.
So let me ask you this, as far as jiu-jitsu, because obviously that has helped you tremendously in life. And I think your passion for jiu-jitsu to be able to go and pass it on to others comes from the place that you yourself, where you were and where you're at now, how it's helped you in your life, right? And you want to transfer it over to other people. You want to help them, impact their lives. What are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from jiu-jitsu that you think you apply or you put it on your students to apply in life or business or whatever it may be?
Number one, be true to every single one. No matter position that you have, be humble.
Mm-hmm.
I think be sincere all the time. Don't try to make a person feel good because a couple of words that you said, it might encourage them. Be completely like black and white with them. If they do have a question, if you don't have the answer right away, try to find the answer, bring it back tomorrow. But I think I'll cut it off all of them saying like, you gotta be true, you gotta be honest, and you gotta be reliable. Reliability, you're only gonna get it as the years goes by. I cannot get your trust right away. I have to talk to you. I have to express myself and then check that out. I can get your trust on day one, but through the years and through the weeks and through the months, I'm going to show you how you can get solid that trust. I can tell you marvelous things that I can do it for you. But if I don't apply, I mean, what kind of trust that you're going to have on me and what kind of relationship we're going to build? Zero. And then I won't have you. I don't have my students. I don't have my friends. I don't create a commute. I don't change my community. You know what I mean? So I think, yes, what you said is right. Having a place that people feel safe. And the people nowadays that need to be safe are the law enforcement, are the nurses, are the firefighters, the people that are the first responders. Because if they want to go there to learn an art, right? To learn how to defend themselves, to learn a technique, they need to be safe. Who's going to create that? Myself. If I have a place with 20, 30, 40 lunatics, guess what? I'm just going to have those 20 lunatics for 20 years. You know what I mean? But if I have a place that everybody is welcome, everybody greets you on the door, shake your hands and want to know your name, and I want to help you when I say, hey, such and such, can you help Peter to know how to do this first ABC move, XYZ move? I have 4 or 5 people on you. That's called trust. I got the trust from them and they got the trust from me because I selected the specific person to care for you, to be with you. And I'll be there. Don't mind yourself at all. He's just going to put somebody there. I'll be supervising close, middle distance, or far away. I'm watching everything. You know what I mean? So I think that's what the jiu-jitsu gives to us, that passion and commodity to get together with the others and then give it the benefit of the doubt. You should not accept this type of person. Why? Who are you to judge what I have to receive, what I don't? I'm the only person that I can judge. It doesn't matter who the person is, where they come from, how they get to the school, by bike, by skateboard, by car, by fancy car. I don't care. I'm going to open the doors for everyone. And I tell to every single one that in my dojo, right, Peter? I tell them, I say, look, you see those doors over there that you just push? I say, yes, sir. Yes, professor. Yes, what's going on? Said, you are the only person that can close that doors. Whatever you do here is going to reflect on the person that you are. And then once you walk into that doors and you make the choice and you make the situation to be close the doors for you, you are the only I'm not responsible for that. I'm giving you the dojo. I give you the people. I give everyone here for you train, you commute, you become friends. Got to a point in my gym, Peter, that I have in a bench when the people sit, probably like 40, 50, 60 bags. I have cameras in my gym. I do. But I trust so much my students. I trust so much on the people that are at the dojo that they leave car keys, they leave wallets, they leave gold chains, and nothing bad happens. Why? Because of the trust. And that's the number one thing that comes along with that passion. I have so much passion for what I do that translates to my students, and they care for that place as well.
I love that, man. I mean, I think trust is a big part of it because you keep bringing it up. I think the other thing that I've heard you share is integrity. And the third one I've heard you share is discipline. I think those are the three biggest things, I think, from what you're sharing that jiu-jitsu gives people to be able to go and be awesome in life and in business and all that kind of stuff. Hey, it's Polish Peter, and we're going to jump right back into this particular episode. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? This guy is a wealth of wisdom. But before we jump into that, I want to offer you a free gift, and that is at oneconversationaway.com. That's oneconversationaway.com is where you can actually book a free clarity session with me, moi, Polish Peter. And why would you want to set up a call with me? Well, if you have trouble with discipline, or any of those conversations that we had on this particular episode, I believe I can help you. Jump on the call, schedule a call with me. I'm going to help you figure out a plan for yourself that's going to help you put more discipline in your life. I've been able to do this myself, and I've been able to share this with my own students, and I want to pass this on to you as well. So there's no obligation, no cost, just something that I want to give back to my community, to the listeners, because you come and listen to my podcast and join my podcast. So I want to give back to you. So oneconversationaway.com. That's oneconversationaway.com. And my hope is that when you start having a conversation with me, when you have a coaching, you'll be curious to find out more about my coaching mastermind. And then maybe in the future, maybe then you will decide and choose to, maybe if we're a great fit for each other, join us. But this conversation, just want to give back to you. So one conversation away, schedule the call with me, and let's have a conversation about discipline, about creating your strong why, whatever it might be, that mindset stuff that's going to help you get to the next level. So without further ado, let's get back into this episode and let's keep it going. Let me ask you this. Do you see a correlation between like jiu-jitsu and, let's say, business?
Yes, in the sense of like, you have to be disciplined and vigilant on your business, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever business that you have dream about it or you live about it, if you don't wake up every single day that today I'm going to make it better, I'm not going to feel accommodate, you make your business prosper. You know what I mean? Not because you do a dozen bagels every day. Maybe it does have something that you should bet on that bagel. You know, if right. Bagels is your thing. I don't know. Breakfast, came up to my mind. I'm sorry.
Did you eat breakfast today yet?
Oh, no. Right now it's like 1:30. So 1:30 afternoon. So I have actually, we can talk about food and breakfast and juices and stuff like that. But let me tell you this, like the correlation of jiu-jitsu with the business comes along in the sense that if you don't have a mindset that my business has to do better every week, every month, you're not going to prosper. Right. You just feel accommodate. Oh, okay, I sell 200 bagels a day. I'm fine. How about selling 201 bagels a day? Or how about to sell 202 bagels a day? So things that helps, it's kind of like you do a set plan, right? You get a piece of paper on Sunday and you write it down. Okay, what's my goal this week? I do that all the time. My goal this week is probably like talk to 5 people that don't know about jiu-jitsu, don't know about the academy, they don't know about the dojo, and then trying to get them to get there. But not talk in a selling way. Mm-hmm. I never like to talk in a selling way. Hey, come to my place, I charge less than this guy. No, I like to talk about the benefits that the place does for you.
Right.
If you're not a wake up early bird person, then you might be going to be able to wake up earlier. But if you don't have a time to do the class in the morning, but you have a time to do the class at night, so wake up a little earlier, do like 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 sit-ups every day. That's discipline right there. And that's come along with the business. So instead to get on the business at 8 o'clock sharp, why don't get on the business 15 minutes prior, 20 minutes prior, an hour prior, and show that discipline. And don't wait for people to tell you, oh, but I'm just employee. Ooh, I just going to show up. No. Show a little bit more. Because of employee, guess what? Your boss is watching you. And because the boss is watching you, every single thing that you do to make his business look better, guess who's going to get the reward? You. But only you going to be able to make that implement on your life. Only you is going to be able to get, you know what? I'm tired to just get on time on my shift. I'm going to get a little bit before, and I'm going to see what my boss needed from me. That's something that in the future, I believe a lot of people that's starting like down on the grade over there on the scale, probably today has a franchising with one of the business. I bet you that, you know? Yeah. So in my case, I try to teach the kids and the teens and the adults in the future, if they want to have a gym, they can have a gym. If they want to open up a dojo, they can open up a dojo. But it's not like the beautiful thing that you see on Instagram or Facebook. That has a lot of backstage work. And if you don't put it, forget it. You're not going to make it.
Awesome. So listen, what I heard from what you just shared is when it comes to discipline and when it comes to improving in life, it's that I talk to my students about this all the time. 1%, just increasing your standards every day, but just 1%, just 1%. You know what I mean? And over time, as you keep doing this, you're going to develop to a whole other person that you didn't even know existed, right? Yeah. And I think that's a big, because you talked about like 200 bagels. Well, next week, just 201 bagels, 202 bagels. Just 1%, just 1%, because I think what happens is we try to take on so much. And I think in jiu-jitsu, right, when somebody comes in who's brand new, who's never done it, what do you start with them? What's the first thing that they do?
I usually ask, have you ever done any sports activity? Have you ever done? And then we try to filter, you know, because then I want to know how I can serve you. You know, how I can provide you my services to you, not just because, oh yeah, I'm the professor, you're gonna do whatever I say. No, I don't go for that. I don't teach that. I don't preach that. I want to get a little brief about what make you to come over here. You know, I need self-discipline. I need to be more focused. I go to the gym, but it's not the same. So that you filter how you're gonna cater that person. You know, like. If you have a person that's athleticism in the past, helps, because you can tell that person if they already did like 2, 3, 4 martial arts in the past, he still have the charcoal of martial arts. He might be going to be good for competition because he might be in the past never did a competition. So we can put that implementation on them as well as the days go by, as the training goes by. A person that never done martial arts before, started with them, showing them the benefits of the sport, having them to try out our class, having them to watch videos, have them to watch our classes as well, how they goes, you know, and we try and not make intimidation for them, you know. That way they can try a free class, they can see the vibe, they can see the energy, what I provide, what we provide. And then if they like it, awesome. I mean, if it's going to be not too much time there, they're going to be part of the member right away, that's okay. But at least we did our part. Right. Then on the first couple of days, on the first weeks, we're trying to show that person basic moves, right? So that person can feel secure. Because guess what, Peter? We're talking about a martial arts that has torsions, has like springs, you know, and something has to be controlled, right? So I don't know how much stronger you are, but I guarantee if you put me on a lock, and I tell you to squeeze, 2 things that's going to happen. You're going to hurt me pretty bad, and you're going to hurt me pretty bad, you know? So I have to have that trust that what I'm showing to you, you're going to replicate it to me, and so vice versa. But not in a sense that I have to snap his arm, or I have to crank his neck so he can see what the real martial art is. Jiu-Jitsu doesn't teach that. The real Jiu-Jitsu doesn't teach that. Okay. We teach like we can go to a certain limit, and on that limit, you are the one that's going to decide if you're going to quit the fight. That's why you see a lot of fighters, they do the 3 taps. That's when they quit the fight. Or if I can go a little longer, I mean, it's up to you. Most likely that happens between the age 18, 16. I'll go a little bit 26 when they realize that, okay, my arm is flexible, my leg is flexible, I can go all out. But then when they started to realize that they're getting older, arthritis, it's knocking to the door, you know, the back pain here, the lower back pain here, the next day, they say, no, I'm good with that. And that's okay. That's what I teach my students. That's okay. You get somebody that might want to give a rough fight, and you show them technique. The guy's a little bit stronger, like a bodybuilder, and he wants to just smash you, show them technique. So you don't need to equivalence weight and power with them. So a first person that walks in, we always trying to educate them, because I go to the principle that you don't know jiu-jitsu, right?
Right.
If you came to my door, what you did, oh, but I trained in this place, I trained in that place. If I know that place, I know where you come from. Jiu-jitsu is a very small community, right? So, but when you starting to throw some names that I'm not familiar with, and I kind of like, I've been on that game for a little bit of while, and I don't know that game, I go to the principal, okay, this guy doesn't know, that girl doesn't know. He might have an idea, so let me show my curriculum so they can feel secure, they can feel the trust that we talk about it. And you got to have integrity. You cannot lie to nobody else. You can tell me that you're the greatest black belt in jiu-jitsu, but I'm going to invite you to roll, to spar, to grappling, to fight. And if you don't kind of like match what you just said, what is your integrity? You know what I mean? So you lied to me on the first meeting, so you're going to be lying to yourself for the rest of your life.
Right. That's a great point, because I think being in that other person's sort of listening, right? Like when they come into your thing and you're just being in there listening, what is it that you were looking for? And being able to help them, I think that's a big difference than when most people, even like in business or, immigrant community, like, here's what I have and this is what I want you. And here's why you need to have it. However, when you flip that and you actually look from their perspective, get into their world, it actually becomes a lot easier for you to be able to have conversations with people. And like, when you're selling something, it becomes easier, all kinds of stuff. So that's a great point. I got another question for you. Going back, when you're in teenagers, 20 years old, whatever, based on what you know now, your all experiences, if you want to go back to that self, what would you tell your 20-year-old self?
Well, that's a great question. Nobody made that question for me before. That's a great one. As 20s, you try to just live life, I guess. You try to enjoy your days. You try to extend your days, actually. My 20s, probably like, I'll say, do more like that I can do it now. So doing more in a phase that explore more. You know what I mean? Like now I have this exploration of inside of me that I want to see places, I want to travel. I didn't have that in my 20s, Unfortunately, I come from a poor family, and I didn't have that. But if it was something that I could be able to do it on my 20s, was be able to travel, inside of Brazil, which is beautiful, it's gorgeous. But unfortunately, I couldn't do it. Something that now I can actually, spend 1 week in Brazil and every day be in a different city or in a different town. I think that's something that if I could be able to go back and say, hey, travel more, if you can get a bus or get a ride, I would do that definitely, Peter. But I was more like so self-centered on the discipline aspect to be on my neighborhood, be on my town, and work in my ways of the martial arts, specific saying the jiu-jitsu part, that I travel little. When I travel was more for competition, but not like to explore,
Yeah, explore more, right? Explore more.
I think explore more should be something that I would tell my 20s.
Okay, awesome. That's a great point. Right. I think that the other thing is that happens a lot for us. We grow and we learn a lot from the mistakes that we make in life, right? It's not that when we're successful, I don't think we learn as much from successes as we learned from our mistakes or failures or whatever the case may be. And I think jiu-jitsu, right? If you make that move, all of a sudden it hurts really bad. You're not going to do that again, right?
I don't think so.
Right. So let me ask you this. If you were to share, like, what's a mistake that you or failure that you've had in life that you've learned a lot from and that has helped you tremendously in life?
Well, as a young age, you make a lot of mistakes, right? Not being on time, I think was one of my biggest mistakes when I supposed to be on time in certain places. I think I won't put a blame on the difficulties of transportation sort of thing. I would say that if you wake up, remember, we're going to talk about back in the the past little bit on the interview. If you wake up 15 minutes before, you won't be late. Makes sense?
Right. Yep.
So if I was probably like 15 minutes before certain occasions, I won't be late. But I learned that you gotta be at least 15 minutes prior, something that you really want to do it, and not feel accommodate because, oh, I got this already. I got this job position. Okay, I can come whatever the time that I want. No, it's still keeping that good habits to be prior before you start your day. So I think that's something that I learned a lot, in the past.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Being on time. It was one of those lessons that I've learned about, let's say 10 years ago. I had a big lesson that taught me, and it has helped me tremendously in life, both in business and in life in anybody, right? Yes. Showing up on calls on time, showing up in meetings on time, and all the stuff. I will tell you guys, listening to this call, if you put that one thing in your life, right, just being on time, it's going to make a huge difference for you in your life. I've had one of my clients one time on one of our calls come to me and say, listen, Peter, hey, can I stop you for a second and say something? I'm like, what's up? He goes, I just really appreciate the fact that when you say we're going to get on time here, you are here on time, because most of the people that I deal with barely ever on time. So that one thing, it makes a huge difference. And I think that's one of the reasons that he was a client with me and all that kind of stuff, because of the fact that was one of those things that, you put in your life, and it helps you tremendously. All right.
Well, I tried to be on time today. If you notice, I was on time.
Yes, you were. Yeah.
Just for the record.
That's right. Yeah. So listen, I want to make sure that I respect your time, man. I mean, we could have conversation about this probably for hours.
Oh, for sure.
Because there was so much gold in jiu-jitsu, with so much gold in, 26 belts under you. There is probably a lot of different stories and powerful coaching and things that we can share. But I want to go into my Polish Pillars final round. So my first question with you would be, what's a one book that you would recommend to the listeners?
Well, I'll say The Secret.
Okay.
I have plenty of books on my library, but I think this is the first one that really opened my mind through the books that I've been read. The Secret should be a good one.
Okay, the law of attraction. Awesome, very cool. All right, next question. I know we talked about on this particular call about discipline and integrity, and we talked about being on time. We talked about, growing and channeling your energy and all kinds of different things. If you were to give tie it all in nice little bow for the immigrant listener here to, kind of give them the last piece of advice, what would you say?
I would say this, right? No matter what you have in your mind, if it's not coming too easy, don't worry. Striving, wake up every day with a big smile on your face, because that's just like part of the grains that you put in on the soil. And watering every day, will just grow the roots really strong. And then you're going to have a beautiful tree right in front of you that's not going to bounce for no wind whatsoever. So keep your mindset of whatever you want to do it, stay on the same lane that are with your discipline, and don't disattach them. It's going to have ups and downs. You're going to have days that you feel like, man, why I'm doing this? It's going to have some days that you're going to feel energetic. Those are the days that you got to feel every day. Like I said, I was planning to open up a gym as soon as I moved here, and I ended up being a chef. I didn't know how to cook. I have to learn how to cook. I have to learn, how to treat people and talk to people. I think that gives me a tremendous amount of experience. And then right after, I was be able to, get a little piece of my American dream, right? So that's what I live now with my beautiful wife and 2 kids, and another one on cooking. Just
another kid you're cooking? Is that what you said?
I have a
awesome.
daughter. I have a daughter. She's probably going to be delivered end of January, maybe beginning of February, something like that.
Awesome.
So we are pretty excited. Thank you, sir. We're pretty excited, and I have a future behind me. You know what I mean? So I got to wake up every day and say, man, what a beautiful day to be alive. And I don't regret anything that I did it, but I always remember where I come from.
Right. That's an important thing. And I think for listeners here, I will never forget. I will always remember where I come from, right? My roots and all that kind of stuff, because I think those are important in order for you to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Without having those roots or remembering those, it's going to be difficult for you to get to where you want to go. And I think that's an important thing. All right, next question.
Sure.
By the way, when I was a little kid, I used to watch Brazil soccer all the time. That was my favorite team of all time.
All right.
And you guys played, like, I remember Maradona for Argentina and all that kind of stuff. So
And
Brazil was my thing.
Zico, Gerson, Rivelino, all of those guys, they're the Magic Dream team right there. The
That's it.
Big time.
Which leads me to my next question, Brazil. Yeah. What's the one thing that you want to share about Brazil, about your own country, that maybe people are not familiar with? Maybe it's a food, maybe a custom, maybe a saying, maybe a place or whatever.
I'll tell you this, like, Brazilians are very passionate, lovely people. We do have a similar food, Central America. I can tell you that. Well, they're basically carbs, rice and beans and steak, chicken, fish, whatever they have. But I think something that really admire me to Brazil is like we embrace the people, we embrace the nations, like everybody that comes over there. I mean, we're trying to make friends with, specific my part. I always trying to make friends with, I always trying to communicate with, even if I don't know the language, sign language is right there, pointing this, pointing that, how much is this? So we have that, and that's something that I brought it when I moved to US. I see some people sometimes very cold, very like distance. You come to give a hug and they're kind of like, whoa. But this is us. This is me. And like I said, I always remember where I come from. We shake their hands, we look at people on the eyes, we give them a hug. We're trying to make people understand that we are part of the family, at least a jiu-jitsu family. We're going to be part of it.
Right.
We're going to see each other 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, whatever is schedule available. But I think something that Brazil brings that lovely, with the next human being. I think I love that. That should be my translation for Brazilians.
I love that. Yeah, that's one of those countries I have on my list to go visit.
Oh, I want to take you. Don't worry. We have I'm gonna share with you particularly like a specific spot that I have there. You can take it as well. It's gonna be great.
Love it. Bring it on, man. That's awesome. All right, next question. I believe that every single person in the world has a superpower. Oof. What's yours?
Care. I think I care for people. Sometimes I care more for people than myself. I get that from my students.
Yeah.
A good example, sometimes I have a competition, a tournament that I prepare myself to train with. And I see myself sometimes not training too much, but having the training provided for them. And I get that from them, Professor, go train because that's okay. We'll be okay. I think the care is the thing that I have that on me. I do care too much for the others as well.
I love that.
That would be one of my powers.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, that's from the conversation that you just had with me on this particular podcast. I think that shows big time how you run the gym and all that kind of stuff, your dojo and that kind of stuff. All right. I have an odd question to ask you right now.
Yeah.
Would you rather want to be the best player on the losing team or the worst player on the winning team?
Wow, that's a good one. I think the worst, because if I'm happy with the success of the others, I'll be happy to myself. Peter, times and times I tell my students that we gather like a competition team, and sometimes it's not the biggest one. It's a small group, but I tell them, look, you have 50% of the chance to win that tournament. That other person have 50% of the win that tournament. If you put 1%, you're putting a little bit more than the other person. However, the outcome, winning or lose on Monday, usually the tournaments happen Saturday and Sunday. I tell them on Monday, I'm still going to be here with a big smile on my face, with the open arms, expecting you guys, and hopefully nobody get injured. So I think be the worst player on the winning team, for me, satisfied in myself, because I'll be happy with the success of the others. And that's what I tell my students, that actually nowadays they chose the path to open up a dojo and having up a school. I tell them, say, listen, man, hopefully you can be successful. Some of them, they have families to sustain. Some of them, they do part-time jobs. Some of them, they full-time job. Mm-hmm. And I tell them, it's a very competitive world. There's a lot of gyms out there. So it's the same statement that we talk about it, like wake up 15 minutes before. Don't be satisfied with just 200 bagels. Do 201, 202, awesome. Because you're going to get older. And then if the time passes and you don't make any accessibility for the community with your skills, so they see how much you can provide to them, you're just going to be a number. Yep. I think that's the lesson that I give it to them, most likely.
Awesome. I love that, man. You're such a man of wisdom, man. It's incredible. All right. Last question for you. Yeah. If someone wants to get a hold of you, reach out to you and find out more about you, how would they go about doing that?
All right. So we right now, for the past decade, we've been located in Kendall area, Miami, Florida, West Kendall. The name of the school is Carlson Gracie, Miami. I am affiliated with the Carlson Gracie Jr. My students, the competition team, when we make a big selection of team, we fight under the Carlson Gracie team under one flag. I have my team as a Ghost Squad BJJ team, and then we are in 4033 Southwest 152 Avenue. But to make it easier, you can go to www.buiubjj.com, and you can actually find us on the Google, on Instagram page, and Facebook as well.
Awesome.
And everybody that's listen to the show, I want to offer to them, and they can come on by and having like a free class.
Awesome. Very cool. I love that. Thank you so much. Okay. So if you don't mind, I'll put that link in the comments in the notes of the page for this particular podcast episode. So listen, Michel, thank you so much, man. I so appreciate you, and thank you for sharing your life, your successes, and some of the failures that I've been asking you, and the lessons that I think any one of us can apply to the life to be able to be successful, whether you're an immigrant or not. For those of you who are listening to this podcast, I appreciate you, man. Seriously, every single one of you that are listening to this podcast every week, I appreciate you, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this podcast, right? And share these stories. So for listeners, if you found this podcast somewhere out on the internet, head over to mastersunite.com. That's mastersunite.com. And always, I'm asking for you to give me any review on the podcast, and I would love to do that. Yeah, Michel, there we go. Yeah. Awesome. Very cool.
My famous picture.
All right, awesome. And I'll see you guys on the next episode.